Well, good evening, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. We'll go ahead and get started here. Looks like the audio is working just fine. So let me know if you can hear me. We'll go ahead and get started. What's up, Alan? What's up, Lisa? All right, awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, so welcome to Sunday night weather weekly hangout, so to speak. We're going to go over the upcoming week and also take a look at potential for some storms tomorrow into a Tuesday morning. Again, nothing severe is expected. I want to highlight that right now, but we could see some stronger hail type of producing storms. We'll go over that here in a second. So, upcoming week, again, a beautiful week in store. If you like spring, you're going to love the upcoming week. If you're liking winter, you may have to wait till late March. We'll go over that here in a second. So, temperatures this week will look right around the 60-degree mark today. We'll go into the 70s tomorrow. More than likely going to hit low 70s for southern Michigan, mid-Michigan, northern Michigan, probably going to be a little bit cooler. And then if we move into the Tuesday timeframe, a cold front comes through, sparks our showers and storm chance, and then we don't cool down very significantly. We're back up into the 40s and 50s for the majority of Wednesday and also Thursday before another system comes through. This one further to our south, and this one has a little bit more cold air with it. So we could see some snow potential in the UP and maybe parts of northern Michigan as well. And this lake effect snow behind it possible, but temperatures right now are kind of marginal into the weekend. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how that plays out. But look at our precipitation. We're going to see that the snow does come in for the UP, but we have rain for the most of lower Michigan, where most of the population you guys are following us from. And we're going to have rain. So with that, we're going to look at the upcoming cold front. This is going to be for Monday night, Tuesday morning. We see that rain pass through the area. We're going to dry for Wednesday. We're dry for the start of Thursday. We have more rain coming up from the southwest. Lower Michigan is rain. The UP does have a shot of snow there. Then behind that, as the winds turn out of the northwest, we do have snow showers behind that. So that's going to be for the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday timeframe. Most likely going to be raining on Friday and probably Saturday as well. Sunday looks to kind of dry out, but again, some snow showers possible. So upcoming temps, high 40s, low 50s for most of us. Tomorrow, low 70s for a majority of lower Michigan. And then snow and rain chances as we get toward the weekend. Now, in terms of the upcoming system, or in terms of storms for overnight, Monday night into Tuesday, again, not looking like a significant threat for right now. Some of these high resolution models do depict a line coming through overnight Monday into early Tuesday morning. Likely going to see some lightning and maybe some small hail with that. Would not rule out a gusty wind in the state here, but again, we're not overly concerned for widespread severe weather. We look at this line popping up here in Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois, and also the UP as well. This is going to be late Monday night, late tomorrow night. This is going to be 10 p.m. at that point. Tomorrow night, we see this line taking shape to our west. Not organized at all, but it pushes into the state slowly, reaching the west side of the state here near Grand Rapids, all the way up to Alpena. This is going to be right around that 5 to 6 a.m. time frame Tuesday morning. That'll continue to push off to the east and will reach Detroit areas late morning, 10, 11 a.m. Okay. It'll clear the state by early afternoon Tuesday. Now, in terms of our ingredients for severe weather, I'll show you why we're not too concerned. Looking at our surface-based instability, which is what we need to fuel winds and also tornadic activity. We're looking at this through the time frame. You don't see a speck of this in Michigan until Monday, but this is Monday, right? We see the bulk of this is out in Illinois. We're not concerned for storms on Monday. We're concerned about storms Monday night into Tuesday, right? We look at this model, it dissipates all of our surface instability into Tuesday night, only leaving a very minuscule amounts in the lower part of Michigan. So in terms of severe weather, we're going to look to above the mixed layer cape. We're going to see a little bit better response on our mixed layer cape, which is going to support the idea of some hail. We see this mixed layer cape. We do have a portion of it extending up here all the way from basically the borders all the way up to our Alpena. So the elevated instability with that capping on the surface there, where surface instability can't penetrate down, that's going to cap the atmosphere. It's going to keep storms elevated. So again, a lot of lightning, probably some small hail, maybe some isolated large hail with this. But again, those chances are quite low as of this time. If that changes, we'll update you. But for right now, overnight Monday into early Tuesday morning, majority of us are going to probably see some good thunderstorms. As far as locations, the models are saying everybody. There's not one place in Michigan that does not have that thunderstorm threat. But again, no severe weather is currently expected. Looking at the overall potential look at radar real quick here, if I can pull this up. right here. This is what I want. So again, we're looking at this forming off to our west, Wisconsin. This is Monday afternoon. We do have some showers and storms in the UP. Again, no instability up there. It's far enough north. And then we look at this line developing off to our west, pushing into Michigan overnight and into early Tuesday morning. So again, small hail is likely. A lot of lightning is likely. You may be getting some good structure too. If you guys like storm structure, shelf clouds, elevated storms really are photogenic. So again, sunrise is going to be a really interesting time for some photogenic storms, I'm going to assume. So, with that being said, that is all I have for this upcoming week and the overall threat for tomorrow. Now, tonight, I will say there's a threat for some storms in the western UP. We're watching some isolated cells up here in Wisconsin that are beginning to pop up. They're going to push into the western UP, but those are going to be pretty weak. Just some generic thunderstorms for you guys. Now, how is the long term looking? Now, we do this every single week, every Sunday at 7, 8 o'clock ish. We'll go ahead and look over the week ahead. We'll dive into the long term. So, a brief look at the long term. We look at two things in particular: our Arctic oscillation, which is a determination of high pressure, low pressure kind of things in the United States and also up toward the North Pole. So we're going to look at this. We see it stay negative through the time frame, but no really deep negative dips here. When it goes negative, when you see this chart here, when this line is below this middle black line, we're seeing this negative little phase. We're going to call it a phase. If it dips down, like say down here, so I'll be more concerned about cold air working its way into the United States. But because it stays pretty much neutral, if not just barely negative, not too concerned with cold air penetrating down into the United States. The warm air looks to be kept down here for a while, and by warm I mean probably 40s and 50s. By cold I mean probably 20s and 30s. So through the time frame here through mid-March, we're looking to stay roughly the same pattern here, probably 40s and 50s, but we do see some signals on the long term that late March is going to cool down. So this map right here is your temperature anomalies, which is basically the normal temperature for the time of year. We're getting into March. The average temperature here in the United States, or should I say Michigan, sorry, the average temperature in Michigan is right around that 50 to 55 degree mark by the end of March. So with that being said, we're going to look at this. This is current. We're seeing we're much above average here by these warmer colors up here in the eastern United States. That indicates warmer. These blues and greens and purples over here indicate cooler than average. So run this through the time frame. This is a long-term model. We're going to watch this warmer anomaly stick around. This is mid-March. We're still seeing these warmer anomalies. But as we get into late March, the anomalies go away. It turns more neutral, and then all of a sudden we have a brief cold shot there. Now, how cold? I have no idea. That's the only thing we're going to have to kind of figure out. Most models are picking up on the late March cool down. Is it going to be cold enough for snow? Maybe. But also keep in mind that the average temperature is 50 to 55 degrees. So even if the temperature is 40 or 45, that would still be a colder anomaly, which would then support, the same pattern we're going through. So overall, I'm not expecting much in the way of a significant pattern shift yet. I don't see that happening, but I do see at the end of March, we are looking to cool down. This is supported by the GEFS, the European, and also the CFS. So we have some global model support with this as well, that we're going to probably cool down towards the end of March. This map for right here highlighting is March 21st to March 28th. So the very last 10 days of March, watch for a cool down. It could be back into the 30s. It could be, again, 40s just because, like I said, the average temperature is 50, 55. So anything below that is still below average. So keep that in mind as well. Overall pattern in terms of systems and precipitation does look to stay above average through the time frame. We're probably going to have a lot of these systems working their way through, probably one or two a week. Be watching for either rain, snow, maybe some storm potential as well working its way in. Overall pattern still supports wet and also above average conditions in terms of temperatures. So with that being said, that is all I have for you guys. That was your weekly catch up. Again, in 10 minutes, got that done in 10 minutes. That's awesome. So if you guys are heading out, hit that like button for me. If you guys have questions, stick around and ask, and let's have a chat. I am open to questions. As long as they're weather related or within means, within reason. What's up, Chris? Just got back with Chris, Cody, and Ben. We were out surveying the Marshall area today. All right, any questions here? The SPC does have a mesoscale discussion issued for Wisconsin tonight, but again, it's a 5% chance of a watch issuance there. Not concerned tonight. And also, the SPC does have a marginal risk for severe weather to our west in Illinois, Wisconsin for tomorrow evening. So For those of you who like out-of-state radar watching, we'll probably be live over on our secondary account, Great Lakes Storm Chasing Network, covering those storms. But again, those aren't expected to work in the Michigan as severe storms, so we're going to be safe here for the most part. Again, it could get an isolated severe storm or two, but it's not going to be an overly big concern. We're going to, we're not going to probably go live or anything unless we need to. No, there is no storm tonight, Rose, unless you're in the Western UP. We do have a potential for showers and storms that are going to be non-severe tomorrow evening into Tuesday morning. When can we start our gardens? Julie, that is a great question. I would definitely ask more so towards the middle to late end of this month. I think we'll have a better idea of how cold we're going to get by the end of this month. But in terms of like April and stuff, once we get into May, we're kind of like, we're less concerned for below freezing temperatures. But I think by the end of March, you'll have a good idea of how April looks, and we'll have a good idea if you guys can start your gardens or not. Could Michigan get another snowstorm before winter is over? I'm not going to rule it out. I just think the overall pattern and chances of that happening are quite low with the pattern we're in right now. Again, we're not going to turn below average until late March. And then that just kind of, if we look at this, though, if we run this through the period, we're going to see it cools down here from a warm anomaly from this is March 18th. And then it cools down right here. We're neutral. So we're about average, so about 50 degrees here, March 24th. And then we look, it turns cold. But if we continue this through, it doesn't turn cold very long. So a cool down possible, likely, should I say, for late March, but it doesn't stick around long, at least on this model. So if there's going to be a snowstorm, look to late month. But again, I don't think the chances of that are very high. All right, we have a lot of questions about the atmospheric cap. So those of you who don't know what a cap is, it's basically a stable layer of air. To get thunderstorms that are surface based, we need the instability on the surface, right? So a cap basically, when a storm is like, think of a storm above the surface, and below that storm, between the storm and the surface, is basically a brick wall. Think of it that way. For the updraft to become surface based, it needs to penetrate that brick wall. That's kind of like a cap. So storms can't become surface based to produce wind and tornadoes if they can't break that wall, so to speak. It's basically just a stable layer of air that storms cannot overcome. Hope that makes a little bit more sense. But storms, when that happens, though, we still worry about hail because a lot of the hail ingredients that are necessary to get the big, large hail happen up in the upper parts of the atmosphere where that cap isn't going to be, in place there. So they can still produce hail. What tornado picture, Youper? All right. With that being said, that's all I got for you guys. You guys don't have any more questions, I'll hop off here. The radar app that we use, there's multiple apps we use. In the field, we use RadarScope, and that's probably the most consistent one, more user-friendly, although it does cost money. It is not a weather app. It will not tell you the temperatures or anything like that. It's just strictly a radar app. And then while we're streaming live to you guys, I know Joel uses Gibson Ridge 2, GR2. I use that sometimes as well, but I'm kind of liking Radar Omega a little bit better because it gives me a lot of tools like tracking and roads and stuff like that. So between Radar Omega, Radar Scope, and GR2, those are the main three that we use. There's also, we don't use it, but there's WSV3. There's a few other ones. There's Pickle 3. That's an old, outdated one. There's multiple. But if you guys just look for a basic, radar that with the advanced options, Radar Scope's your way to go. Any Aurora chances tonight? There is, but for right now, it looks to be on the downtrend. We had a CME hit literally this morning when we were getting, as soon as the sun rose, we had a CME hit and it dropped the Aurora down probably to where we probably could have seen it here in Michigan, but on the dark side of the world over there. So right now the data doesn't look too hot for the United States, although Maine is seeing it, but that data has been downtrending for the past hour or two. So Yes, Kendall. Whenever we have a early season warm up like this, we do get concerned because many of our storm systems that work their way through early in spring and even late in fall are very highly sheared. So it doesn't take very much instability to touch these storms off. We saw it very well a couple nights ago. Here we had two tornadoes in Michigan, as well as some good hail and wind reports as well. So when you have these warm temperatures combined with the higher wind sheared systems, we do have a elevated chance of some early spring storms, and also this happens in fall too. The early season and late season systems are usually very highly sheared, wind sheared. That is. Tina, I do not think we're going to go marginal, but if we do, it'll be probably a sliver of West Michigan. If that does happen again, we'll post updates on the page tomorrow. I think it'd be for hail primarily, only hail really, but I don't see that happening as of right now. We have to see an uptrend tonight in models for that to happen. Alrighty. Any more questions, guys? The timing of showers tomorrow is going to be depends on where you're at in the state. The further north you are, the earlier it's going to be. Go ahead and take back the radar here for you guys to look at one more time. So this is tonight. We're seeing the storms up in the western part of the UP. Nothing significant up there. Maybe some small hail. But as we get into tomorrow night, into overnight Monday into Tuesday, watch this line come in. If you're in the UP, it's raining already as early as tomorrow afternoon. Northern Michigan up by Gaylord might get any action tomorrow afternoon as well. But looking at the majority of the population, Grand Rapids, Flint, Detroit, Lansing, those areas, watch this move in. This is going to be midnight tomorrow night, Tuesday morning. This is 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then it clears the state right around noon on Tuesday. So timing on the storms tomorrow, if assuming you're from the lower part of Michigan, late night, early morning, Tuesday. It is our pleasure, Kendall. We do this out of a passion and we love doing it. We'll be here all summer long, every single year that Facebook allows us to, YouTube allows us to. We're going to be live here anytime there's severe weather in Michigan. Not concerned for severe storms. We're not concerned at all for wind or tornadoes here in the state. We do have a chance for tornadoes to our west in Illinois and parts of Wisconsin, but the atmosphere remains pretty much capped for us. I don't expect there to be any risk here. And if there's going to be a risk, it's going to be for hail, just because I think these storms can be elevated. I'm not sure about that, Kendall, asking if we're going to be live for the solar eclipse. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not sure what our staff's plan is for the day. You might, depending if it's the first step to that is being clear. I mean, we are in a cloudy month for April, so we could be battling clouds. So yeah, I will bring this up really quick for those of you who want to see this. I see a comment here in chat about the marginal tomorrow. So the marginal risk, ignore this looking like a graphic image. This is the SPC outlook, but this is a marginal risk tomorrow. It extends all the way up into southern Wisconsin and most of Illinois there as well. So there is a chance of severe weather out to our west. Julie, I knew you're going to say that. I just knew you're in here. But anyway, that's your risk. That's your tornadic risk. Again, once it crosses the cold waters of Lake Michigan, we don't have this ability to fuel this. We don't have a low-level jet to fuel this. We don't have wind shear. There's a lot working against this threat coming across the lake into Michigan overnight Monday. So not concerned. But we do have a threat. It's close by, mainly for hail. We'll be watching the hail threat closely. And again, if this changes, we will have updates on the page tomorrow. So if you guys do want updates, go ahead and check on the page regularly. Usually they're posted either early morning if we get a you guys, I'm gonna switch this. Okay, this is crazy. Okay, we're not gonna discuss that, but if there's going to be a risk upgrade, we'll post it tomorrow morning. And then if we're starting to get more concerned, if there's no risk, but we're starting to get more concerned, we usually post an update mid-afternoon, right around 3, 4 o'clock, sometimes a little bit later or sooner. So check our page, when you get home from work or 5, 6 o'clock, we'll have something on the page. Kendall, we do not have any storms on the horizon that we're watching for severe. The next system comes in on the this weekend, or technically next weekend, Friday, Saturday. If we're looking at our instability and stuff like that, there's not much to note. But these systems can uptrend sometimes here. Tuesday might have a shot in Ohio with that passing line. May go, be concerned about some wind there. But overall, this is your instability model. This is for Friday. We don't see much of anything. I mean, these are just blips of instability here. It's not even, 100 joules isn't going to do anything. So, not concerned. And long term, just kind of, wish casting, we call it. If we see a good system on the long term. March 13th, there's a system here. We might do something out west that could trend slower or faster. Um, for early next week, next week, like March 13th, so 10 days away. Might be a day to watch, but overall, just not seeing much anything system wise yet. If we look at our ensemble support as well, we might be able to see a little bit better idea of what some other models are thinking. Again, the ensembles are just kind of one model ran over and over. So again, this is going to be for March 13th. So that was your system. And again, not many members picking up on that. Oh, okay. Well, out west it is, at least for right now. So may have something coming up on the 13th, but again, that's out west. Not sure how it translates to Michigan. I see one model, member 3 there, looks to try, but that's the only model doing it. So not really concerned for long term here. What are the requirements for us to go live? So for us to go live, we kind of there's two things we kind of break this down into. For pulse storms like that just kind of pop up and become severe, we may hop on briefly to cover that storm depending on our availability. But usually on bigger severe weather days like we had a few days ago, we have operations planned out. We're talking to our partner chasers. We're discussing between the actual staff here who's going to be live, who's going to be chasing. We have whole plans going in place. So technically, when we see a threat that includes mainly tornadoes, wind, and hail, we usually just let everybody know, hey, we're going to go live. We'll usually schedule it so people know, our plans. We'll usually make an announcement on our page as well. Overall requirements, it just kind of varies, but for bigger systems that we expect a widespread, severe storms, more than one severe warning, we would go live. And then also depending on, if a pulse storm, just one storm in the state pops up and, produces, a lot of wind and hail, we might do that. And then technically, if we're available and we see a tornado risk, we're going to hop on here. Mid-March is going to be above average. It's late March. I'm more concerned about cooler temperatures. Yeah, the groundhog was right so far. We'll see about late March, but for so far, yeah. Easter better not be cold. Well, it might be. It might be. One model that I have my eye on, I haven't looked at yet, is the RRFS model. This model really kind of nailed the last setup we had here. It was the first model to kind of throw out the higher instability. Like if you guys recall, if it's not, I'll explain if not. But we're watching the global models, the European GFS. They're not really good at producing or predicting instability until a very short term. When the RFS model is a short term model that goes out 60 hours, so about 2.5 days. That was the model. It's an upcoming model, developing model, and it was the first one to predict the uptick in instability and wind shear for this last system. So it does have some weight there, in my opinion, that it may be onto something before any other models do come out. So I watch it more so closely now because of that. It did handle some good winter systems here as well, in terms of snowfall placement and stuff like that. So it's something to watch this spring and summer, because for technical behind the scenes talk, this model is supposed to be replacing the NAM 3 and the HRRR, if I'm not mistaken. So keeping an eye on this model for sure to see how this performs system to system. But again, looks like a pretty similar story to what the HRRR model is showing. Looks like we're having a good line of storms here that might work into the state as early as, well, this model here says we could have development up there by Mount Pleasant as late as tomorrow evening, right around 9 p.m. But again, that's a low risk right now. We do have some cells here Looks like they're going to be hail producers. Looking at our instability and stuff like that, I'm sure it's pretty much non-existent at this point. Um, oh, there actually is a little bit there. So, but again, that wouldn't really raise a severe threat at all. Just be more of a wind threat, I think. But I have to keep an eye on that. Could see a brief, stronger storm in the state, and especially Western Michigan. But overall, similar picture, just a little bit earlier timing on this model. All right. Can we use the website you use for models? Personally, I can get. I mean, the link is right up here. weather.cod.edu/forecast/legacy. But again, I do not recommend, if you don't know how to read models, don't do it, because you need to understand what you're looking at to get an idea, because you just can't go in there and see, oh, look, we have storms, they're going to be severe. No, you got to understand the stuff behind it too. So I would not suggest going and looking at models yourself. I would recommend just following a trusted source, whether it's us, NWS, your local TV meteorologists, other pages. Michigan has some pretty good pages besides us. So that is a good point, Kendall, if that's a question or a point you're making. But yeah, it could definitely trend that way. We do usually end winter in Michigan with an ice storm. Again, I'm not going to say it's going to happen. In fact, I lean against it at this point. But if it's going to happen, it's going to be at the end of March when it cools down. It's just a matter of how cold we're going to get. It could be a matter of 45 degrees because, again, average is 50 for that time of year. So it could be 45, or it could be down back into the 30s. We have no idea. All right, guys. With that being said, I'm going to probably hop off here. So again, storms late tomorrow evening, early Tuesday morning. If you're in the far eastern, like Detroit areas, it may be Tuesday morning to be more concerned about. We'll have updates on the page tomorrow if anything changes with that. And to give you guys a reminder, because I know a lot of people don't actually watch these streams. So thank you to those who do watch and keep yourselves informed. That's awesome that you guys do that. We just reached 100,000 followers. So again, thank you guys for that. But we'll have updates on our page for those of you who don't get to watch the stream. So with that being said, I'm going to hop off here. I'll see you guys next week, and hopefully not this week, but if we do have to go live, we will go live for anything that happens on Tuesday, Monday night into Tuesday. We'll go live if we have to. I'll be here available. I'll be watching everything. So you're in good hands either way. But again, no severe weather is expected. But do plan on a stronger storm, a lot of lightning, maybe some good structure, and some small hail at the very least. So we'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, Sunday 7 or 8, again, varies per week, for the next week's weekly update. So thanks guys for watching. Stay safe all.